The story begins by introducing Gilgamesh, king of Uruk, 2/3 God and 1/3 man, the oppressor of his people, who are crying out to the gods for help. Everyone is at his mercy. The gods respond to their pleas by creating an equal to Gilgamesh in order to distract him. They create a primitive man, Enkidu, who lives in the wild with the animals. He is later spotted by a trapper, whose livelihood is being ruined. The trapper tells Gilgamesh of the man and arranges for Enkidu to be seduced by a harlot. This seduction by Shamat, the temple prostitute, is his first step towards civilization. After 7 days of making love with him, she proposes to take him back to Uruk. Shamat brings Enkidu to a shepherd's camp where he is introduced to a human diet and becomes the night watchman. He later approaches Gilgamesh at his throne and confronts him about the treatment of his people. The battle between Enkidu and Gilgamesh commences. Enkidu admits defeat and knows that Gilgamesh is far more superior. The two become friends and allies, and a brotherhood is formed. Gilgamesh and Enkidu journey to the cedar forest. They camp on a mountain and perform a dream ritual every few days, until they hear the rumble of the Humbaba, who they came to slay. Humbaba, the ogre guardian of the cedar forest, lies in wait for Gilgamesh and Enkidu. He insults and threatens them. He accuses Enkidu of betrayal and vows to disembowel Gilgamesh. Enkidu and Gilgamesh commence battle with the Humbaba, who falls and pleads for mercy. They slay Humbaba. When they return home, the goddess Ishtar becomes fond of Gilgamesh, but he rejects her advances because of her mistreatment of previous lovers. Scorned, Ishtar approaches her father anew to receive the bowl of heaven to set it on Gilgamesh. Enkidu and Gilgamesh attack and slay it, and offer up his heart to Shamash. The people of Uruk celebrate Gilgamesh and Enkidu's victory over the bowl of heaven. But Enkidu has an ominous dream. The gods decide that one of the heroes must die because they killed Humbaba and the bowl of heaven. Despite the protestations of Shamash, Enkidu is marked for death. Enkidu curses the great door he has fashioned for Enlil's temple. He also curses the trapper and Shamat for removing him from the wild. Shamash reminds Enkidu of how Shamat fed him and clothed him and introduced him to Gilgamesh. Enkidu regrets his curses and blesses Shamat and begs for mercy and forgiveness. In a second dream, however, he sees himself being taken captive to the netherworld by a terrifying angel of death. For 12 days, Enkidu's condition worsens. Finally, after a lament that he could not meet a heroic death in battle, he dies. Gilgamesh is consumed by grief over the loss of his friend Enkidu, which he calls upon the mountains, forests, fields, and rivers to mourn for him. He tears at his hair and clothes in grief. He roams the wild, grieving for Enkidu, and fearful of his own death, he decides to seek out Utnapishtim and learn the secret of eternal life. The faraway and his wife are the only humans to have been granted immortality by the gods. Utnapishtim seems no different from Gilgamesh, and he explains to him how he obtained his immortality. He tells Gilgamesh that the gods decided to send a great flood to earth. To save Utnapishtim, the god A told him to build a boat. He gave him precise dimensions. His entire family went aboard, together with his craftsmen and all the animals of the field. A violent storm then arose, which caused the terrified gods to retreat to the heavens. The storm lasted 6 days and nights. His boat lodges on a mountain, and he releases a dove, a swallow, and a raven. Utnapishtim tells Gilgamesh that at the bottom of the sea there lives a boxthorn-like plant that will make him young again. He manages to obtain the plant and intends to test it on an old man when he returns to Uruk. When Gilgamesh stops to bathe, it is stolen by a serpent. He weeps at the futility of his efforts because he has now lost all chance of immortality, and returns to Uruk, where the sight of its massive walls prompts him to praise this enduring work.